here I am, Dr. Kevin Polk. And if I sound a little excited, it's because I just found out that my daughter, who was in a master's program, just got accepted to a PhD program. So way cool news here in the Polk side of things. And I realized that I hadn't introduced myself in the first couple of live broadcasts that I did. I'm Dr. Kevin Polk. I am a clinical psychologist and also have a lot of background in social psychology and experimental psychology. I got all around. And the social really took me into the business realm and doing stress management presentations and finally into conducting meetings well. But I also did a bunch of clinical stuff, and I discovered something called acceptance and commitment training. And I really got into that, and I developed, in 2009, I developed the matrix diagram, which is the first part of this pro-social matrix that you see up on your screen right now. And then in 2012, I was working with some very distinguished people and had the great opportunity to, while I was driving down the road, to think of the pro-social matrix, an extension of the ACT matrix. And so that's what you see, and that's what we've been going over. I'll tell you more about myself later on. You also notice that I fool around with guitars. And believe me, I only fool around with them. Over the years, I've gotten these and good deals. I play a little bit, but not great. But it's a good diversion from all this other more academic egghead kind of stuff that I do. But I absolutely love working with people. My goal is to help the world, really. And I see as one of the great ways to do that is make the workplaces of the world a lot better place to work. And we've all sat in on meetings that were, let's say, less than satisfactory, or work groups that were less than satisfactory. And as a matter of fact, down below the video, there should be some likes and comments and stuff like that. And if you could please type in about, like, yes, I've worked in work groups that weren't doing so well, or maybe even all the way to dysfunctional. It's nice to hear from you down there. And somewhere on there, I'm going to put a link to a webinar that I'll be doing. I do lots of webinars, then I'll be doing a webinar. So if you could click on the link to the webinar and sign up for that, really helps out my efforts to help the world with the pro-social matrix. And the pro-social matrix is exactly what it is. It's very pro-social. It's non-judgmental. It's very kind and gentle way of doing things. You'll find out as you learn more about it. So now that's enough about me for today. And congrats out to my daughter again, of course. Very proud of that. We started with who's important to you, and we're just doing our first warm-up stuff. Always a good idea to have that up, not particularly this stuff over here, but have the matrix and who's important to you up to begin any meeting. Then we come over here, what inside stuff gets in the way. That's like yesterday I told you about fear can show up and get in the way of you asking somebody out on a date. So fear is always over there in the lower left, but we can have anger and other things as well to show up. And just have the group talk about that a little bit. And then we have today, we go up in here, and I know yesterday I mentioned about up here is the land of behaviors. Down here is your mind. And so going on inside yourself, private events if you want. Up here is behaviors. And this, I have this labeled as favorite away moves. So what's your favorite thing to do, like to move away from fear? Once again, a basic example, a lion, a tiger, or a bear or something has got in your vicinity. And what might you do? Well, you might run, or at least hide, avoid, that kind of thing. A very natural thing to protect ourselves, to move away from fear. But then again, maybe anxiety shows up. Well, that's fear of something in the future, and maybe you go about avoiding that. Maybe you have an extra drink or so, or you look on Netflix and just don't think about things for a while. We're all very natural. We all do these kind of things. These behaviors meant to reduce this yucky feeling. I oftentimes call them yucky feelings down here. So that goes on. And it's just having a group talk about that in general terms. It's as I said, this is always kind and gentle. Nobody's getting blamed for anything. We're just looking at humans being humans, ourselves being ourselves, and do that. So, and then tomorrow or on Monday, I guess, we'll get over here to this. Or if you want to catch up, sign up to a webinar and you'll see me do the whole thing, actually 2 times around this, to do the complete pro-social matrix. But in these videos, I want to keep them short and keep people, well, not having to spend a whole lot of their time watching the whole thing, just a little bit at a time. So to recruit today, one, my daughter got into PhD school, way cool. A PhD program, way cool. And by the way, it's a program that has the matrix within it, this diagram that I created. So that's like double cool. And then a little bit about my guitars and me. And then we reviewed always #1 best thing to start with is who's important to you. So have a diagram up and who's important to you. So when people enter the room, they start thinking about that. Then you go over here and, hey, what kind of stuff shows up inside of us and gets in the way of moving toward who's important to us. We have some fun discussing that. And then let's talk about our away behaviors that everybody can see us doing, drinking or avoiding or hiding, whatever it is. And then we'll finish up over there, or at least finish up the first loop around this. We're actually doing, I'm playing with my, I'll go to the, there we go. So we're actually doing this matrix right here. This is just the matrix. And then we'll get over to the last one over there. So let me do stop sharing and say hello. Now this is a big picture of me. Maybe you couldn't see. I'll get this right. I don't know. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sure you can now see all of it. And here's me in the corner. And thank you so much for watching. And remember, go down below this and type in about if you've ever been part of a less than spectacular work group, or maybe even a dysfunctional work group. And also, if you can, click on my webinar link and sign up to a larger webinar. Those webinars are always recorded, so even if you can't watch them live for 3 or 4 days after the webinar, you can still catch the recording. So you might say, hey, that's not at a convenient time. Great. Just come back and watch the recording when it is convenient for you. So thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye for now.